right.
Good good morning from Mississippi.
Yes. Good morning from southern Mississippi.
Welcome to Kid in Light channel. Today we will go ahead continue read the Good Life book. We will start at the page number
72.
72.
Yes, we're going to continue with this on page 72, where it talks about competency and intimacy. While Wes had developed some of the task of adolescence development into his later years, he was quite far ahead of his peers in establishing competency. He joined the military at 19 and pursued difficult training, earned promotions, and parachuted into enemy territory. This one shy child developed skills as a young adult that bolstered his self confidence. Normally humble and self depreciating, he uncharacteristically boasted to the study at age 34. You could drop me into any environment anywhere in the world, and I believe I could survive and thrive. When he returned to the States, he was unafraid of attempting any hands on task. He taught himself carpentry and built his own house. The house he bought for his mother and sister with his earnings gave him a feeling of purpose and pride. He was returning some of the care they gave him in the way he knew how. In general, as young adults, we are trying to figure out how to establish ourselves in the two big domains of life, work and family. Some people manage to develop competency in both work and family spheres simultaneously. Others flourish more in one sphere. Finding this balance is a developmental challenge, and the possible solutions have varied across gender. Wes's family is a good example. When he came out of the military, he moved into adulthood with the affection and support of his sister and mother. With this foundation and the right circumstances, his sense of competency bloomed. But in the 1950s and 60s, the same type of support and encouragement was not available to his sister. Even in the 21st century, gender based norms continue to shape young adult development, both in work and family life. Despite advances, women in many cultures still carry much of the burden of duties around children and home. This unbalanced division of labor may slow or even hinder young women's development and realization of goals while allowing men greater freedom to pursue career development. Although Wes had the support of his sister and mother, he had no significant intimate relations through his young adulthood. He had come a long way in a sense of competency and control, and he had developed a lot of casual friendships and an active social life. However, the record shows some reluctance, uncertainty, and loneliness in Wes's romantic life. He had no one to confide in, no one to share his days with. Although others might not feel the need for romance in their lives, Wes felt the absence of romance as a major void, and he didn't know what to do about it. He could build a house, but he couldn't figure out how to build a home. Midlife, 41 to 65. Stepping beyond the self. 1964, Harvard Study Questionnaire for John Marsden, age 43. Question. Please use the last pages to answer all the questions we should have asked. If we have asked about the things that matter most to you. Answer. 1. I'm growing old. Realize for the first time the reality of death. 2. Feel I may not achieve what I wanted. 3. Not sure I know how to bring up children. I thought I did. 4. Tensions at work are severe. At some point in life, we realize we are no longer young. The generation before us is growing old, and we can see and feel the beginnings of that same process in our own bodies. If we have children, our roles in their lives are changing as they become their own people, and we worry about what their future will bring. Friendships, so important in adolescence and young adulthood, may take a back seat to responsibilities. We may be proud of our accomplishments and happy with where we are in some ways, and in some ways wish we'd done things differently. Our lives seem to be shedding some of the responsibilities they once had. At the same time, we've learned a great deal, and many of us would not choose to go back. From the outside, the middle years often look stable and predictable. To younger generations, even boring. To older adults looking back, midlife might look like the prime of life, the best mix of wisdom and vitality. These are flip sides of the same perception. When we look at a person in middle age who has steady work, a routine, a partner, and a family, we often think, this person really has it together. They're in control. Middle-aged adults often look at their peers this way. But the struggles of midlife aren't always visible for others to see. From the inside, midlife can feel different than it looks. We may have a stable work and home life and have pride in those things, but also feel more stressed than ever, overwhelmed with responsibilities and worry, raising children, taking care of aging parents, and juggling the task of home and work. Middle-aged adults often find neither the opportunity nor the energy to reach out and share their worries with others. The stability and routine that some of us find in midlife will feel like safety and security to one person. I've established myself and built a life, but to another, like stagnation. We may look at how we got here and wonder if we've chosen the right path. What would have happened if only? And then, of course, as John Marsden's response to the questionnaire above makes clear, at some point we begin to understand on a visceral level that our life is short. In fact, it's probably more than half over. This is a bracing realization, to say the least. Around the middle of our lives, it's common to ask questions like, am I doing well compared to others? Am I in a rut? Am I a good partner and parent? Do I have good relationships with my children? How many years do I have left? Does the life I'm leading have meaning beyond myself? What people and purposes do I really care about? And how can I invest in them? What else do I want to do? Finally, realizing that a lot of life is behind us, we might look around at our lives, see the limits of our abilities, and the likely conclusion of the path we are on, and think, is this all there is? The answer, or the simple answer, is no. There is more. Midlife is an inflection point, not only between young and old, but also between the self focused, inward looking way of living that many of us develop in young adulthood and a more generous, outward looking way of life. This is the most important and enlivening task of midlife to expand one's focus to the world beyond the self. In psychology, expanding our concerns and efforts beyond our own lives is called generativity,
Generativity.
and it's a key to unlocking the vibrancy and excitement of midlife. Among Harvard study participants, the happiest and most satisfied adults were those who managed to turn the question, what can I do for myself, into what can I do for the world beyond me? John F. Kennedy, himself a Harvard study participant, came to understand this well in his own midlife. He offered not just political, but emotional and developmental guidance when, as president, he said famously, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. When asked at the end of their lives, what do you wish you'd done less of? What do you wish you'd done more of? Our study participants, male and female, often reference their middle years and regretted having spent so much time worrying and so little time acting in a way that made them feel alive.
So we will continue read about another 3 pages, and then we will
Discuss
discuss.
or review. I wish I hadn't wasted so much time. I wish I hadn't procrastinated so much. I wish I hadn't worried so much. I wish I'd spent more time with my family. One participant quipped, well, I didn't do much of anything, so less would be nothing. Many of these answers were given when participants were in their 70s and 80s, looking back at their lives. But we don't need to wait till then to ask ourselves how we can best spend our life or our time. Relationships are the vehicle that will allow us both to improve our lives and to build things that will outlive us. If we manage to do this in meaningful ways, the question is this all there is? Will be reserved for those times we pulled out the last quart of ice cream and feels far too light. Now Wes opens up in his middle years. At 40, Wes Travers had not yet married. In the late 1960s in Boston, this was unusual, or what Bernice Newgarden would have called off time. When he was 36, he started dating a woman named Amy who was divorced and had a 3-year-old son. He helped raise the child, but he and Amy never tied the knot. They now live together in an apartment in the South End. Wes had applied to the Boston Police Department, and after several years of waiting for a position, was finally accepted. This proved to be an extremely positive experience for him. He got along well with his colleagues and was particularly suited to the environment. He now knew people all over Boston and said he had one of the slower heartbeats of the force. So in any tense situation, he thought of his role as the peacekeeper, keeping everyone calm. When Wes was 44 years old, he asked Amy to marry him. Several years later, when a study interviewer visited Wes for a interview, she asked him about Amy and recorded his response in her notes. The passage is worth quoting at length. Amy, Mr. Travers' wife, is 37 years old and they were married in 1971. She is a Baptist and a college graduate. Mr. Travers described his wife as great, a terrific person, and indicated that he really meant this. It was not something he was putting on. He described the characteristics that most pleased him about his wife as she is a gentle and compassionate person. He said he likes everything about her, that there is something about her personality that he liked right away that has never gone away. He said she is the kind of person who will be very sympathetic towards those who have less than she does, and mentioned that one of the reasons she had gotten this particular kitten for his birthday last year was that the cat had a scar on its head and huh, one half missing ear from when it was attacked by a dog.
Wow.
He said that even though she could have chosen a healthy looking cat, it was just like her to take the one in the litter that had scars like this. He said he was somewhat like that too, and he probably would have done the same thing. He said he could not think of anything that really bothers him about his wife. He said that every once in a while they might have a spat. He does not really know about what, but it's something they just get over in an hour or two. There have been never been any kind of serious disagreements between them. They have never been close to getting a separation or a divorce. In terms of his marriage, he said, it gets better all the time. In the end, I asked the subject why they had waited so long to get married. He said, I was afraid I might be a person who was set in my ways, afraid of what I might do to her. He indicated that he did have a certain amount of fear of intimacy of marriage. However, he now seemed to have grown with the marriage and has no feelings or fears about that anymore. Wes had avoided a long term partner his entire adult life, perhaps in no small part because of his early childhood experience of his parents' marriage. This is not unusual. We can develop ideas about ourselves in the world that turns out not to be true. It took him much of his life, but with the help of a loving partner, he overcame this fear, surprising himself and never looked back. Late life, 66 plus, minding what and who matters. Late life, I sort of fall in that category.
Yeah, late life. I think maybe right now you can say late life is 70 years up.
No,
Okay.
well, we'll see. In a study done in 2003, two groups of participants, one older and one younger, were shown two advertisements for a new camera. Both included the same lovely picture of a bird, but the slogans were different. One said, capture those special moments. The other, capture the unexplored world. The participants were asked to choose which advertisement they liked the best. The older group chose the slogan about special moments. The younger group chose the slogan about the unexplored world. But when researchers primed another group of older people by saying, imagine that you'll live 20 years longer than you expect to, and you'll be in good health. The older group chose the ad about the unexplored world. This study shows a very basic truth about aging. The amount of time we think we have left on Earth shapes our priorities. If we think we have a lot of time, we think more about the future. If we think we have less time, we try to appreciate the present. I like that. I think I want to mark that. If we think we have a lot of time,
If we think we have
right up here,
a lot of time, we think more about the future. If we think we have less time, we try to appreciate the present. Ah, okay.
in late life, time is suddenly very precious. Faced with the reality of our own mortality, we start asking questions, or we start asking ourselves questions like, how much time do I have left? How long will I stay healthy? Am I losing it mentally? Who do I want to spend this limited time with?
Me.
Duh, okay. Have I had a good enough life? What was meaningful? What do I regret? Well, I have a lot of regrets,
Me
but I
too.
can't go back.
Yeah. A lot of people have regret.
Yes. From the outside, late life is often viewed primarily as a period of physical and mental decline. To the young, old age might look like a distant abstraction, a state so divorced from their experience that they can't even imagine growing old themselves. To someone in midlife, an older person's decline hits a little closer to home and might remind them of their own aging process. I relate to that. In contrast to these notions of decline, the wisdom of older people is often viewed with deep respect and honor, particularly in certain cultures. From the inside, old age is not so simple. We may be more concerned about time as death approaches, but older folks are also more capable of appreciating that time. The fewer moments we have to look forward to in life, the more valuable they become. Past grievances and preoccupations often dissipate, and what left is what we have before us. The beauty of a snowy day, the pride we have in our children or in the work we've done, the relationships we cherish. Despite the perception that old people are grumpy and cantankerous, I've said that about myself, research has shown that human beings are never so happy as in the years of their lives. Are never so happy as in the late years of their lives.
In the late year of their life. Wow, that's sad.
No, that's
That what the meaning? As in the late years.
research has shown that human beings are never so happy as in the late years of their life.
Yeah.
That means that older people tend to be happier than the younger people.
Oh, really? I think opposite. Okay, okay, go ahead.
We get better at maximizing highs and minimizing lows. We feel less hassled by the little things that go wrong. And we are better at knowing when something is important and when it's not. The value of positive experiences far outweigh the cost of negative experiences. And we prioritize things that bring us joy. In short, we're emotionally wiser, and that wisdom helps us thrive. But there are still things to learn. Still some development ahead, and our relationships are the key to maximizing the joys of late life. One of the harder things for some people to learn is how to give help, and even harder for others as we grow older, how to receive help. Yeah, I agree. But this exchange is one of the central development tasks in late life. As we age, we become concerned both that we are too needy and that people won't be there for us when we really need them. It's a valid worry. Social isolation is a danger. As work and child care and other time investments wane, relationship that relationships that were normally attached to those activities tend to fall away. Good friends and important family connections become more important and should be savored. The sense of limited time makes all of our relationships more important. We have to learn how to balance an awareness of death with staying engaged in life. So let's go back to
73.
72, actually.
Okay.
Okay. Well, competency and intimacy. Well, Wes, in his 40s, was competent. He had abilities, he could do a lot of things. He had friends, but he had not really developed intimate relationship with a woman.
Woman. Okay.
And then in his late 40s, Wes met
One woman.
one woman who had a 3-year-old son.
Ah, okay.
And they lived together, and Wes helped start raising that young
Three
son.
children.
No.
Only son.
Only a son, a 3-year-old son, not 3 children, but 3-year-old son.
Oh, 3-year-old son. Oh, not 3 children. Okay. Okay.
So Wes had the support of his mother and sister, but again, he had no intimate relationships through his young adult life. He developed competency and control, but not any intimacy. Now,
Who control? You said it's control.
Wes,
West like to control.
no, he had developed a sense of competency and control. That means he was confident of himself.
Okay.
Then it sort of jumps over to midlife, 41 to 65. I'm a little bit beyond that. And they start talking about with John Marsden, age 43. And they gave him questionnaires. Now, they're saying at some point in life, we realize we're we're no longer young. We feel like we're getting older. That time is starting to
After 41.
sliding downhill.
After 41.
The generation before us is growing old. And we can see and start feeling the beginnings of getting to that age point. So we start thinking about life differently. So, when you have children, you're busy with them, but their roles or the roles change as they grow older and they
Yeah.
become their own people. We're no longer responsible for them. but we do worry about what their future will bring. We worry about our children,
Yeah.
and we hope that they have a good life,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that's really all we can do. Now, friendships, so important in adolescence and young adulthood, can become like second priority in midlife because we're still concerned about our children, about our uh, job,
Mm-hmm.
and our relationships. So,
Yes.
uh, we can in midlife we can be proud of our accomplishments, and also we're happy where we are at in life.
Mm-hmm.
Our successes.
Mm-hmm. Just some of people that success.
Yeah. But at the same time in midlife, we're shedding some of the responsibilities we used to have.
Mm-mm.
Again, when our children were young, we
Mm-hmm.
had that responsibility of raising them, of taking care of them,
Mm-hmm.
trying to urge them to be successful.
Yeah.
But in midlife, we're shedding some of that responsibility. Our children have grown up. They've started their own life,
Mm-hmm.
their own careers.
Yeah.
So we don't have that same responsibility.
Mm-mm. Same like they was young. Mm-hmm. Okay.
hmm And we've learned a great deal about life.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us, we don't want to go back to uh, relive some of the things we used to do when we were younger.
Mm-mm.
We've grown beyond that.
Okay.
And they say from the outside, the middle years look stable, predictable.
It's
Uh,
mean like a life is stable,
well,
more stable.
it looks more stable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like
And to the younger people,
uh-huh.
like our kids,
Uh-huh.
it might look boring,
Oh yeah. It not excited.
not exciting.
Uh-huh.
Oh, what's mom and dad doing today?
Lawn the mower again.
Uh,
Uh,
Same thing as they did last week. They're mowing the lawn and
uh,
taking care of the house, and
uh-huh.
you know,
It nothing new. Huh?
nothing new. It's just boring.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Uh-huh. This is like a grab, right? Grab of people, grab of the age.
Yes.
Okay, this is we talking about people 41 to 66,
65.
65 years old. So they think different when they was young, and then what is
Now, to older adults looking back, midlife might look like the best time of their life
yes,
when they were young or young enough and their health was good and they had so much going on for them. Now, on the inside, midlife can feel different than it looks. In other words, appearances can be deceiving. It looks one way, but actually it's different. It feels, or it's completely different. So, uh, in midlife, we tend to be more stressed, and a lot of times we have so many responsibilities that that stress overwhelms us. Raising children, taking care of aging adults. And I'm sorry about the phone, folks, but
taking care of
yeah,
the
raising children, taking care of aging parents, and juggling the task of home, work, middle age. In middle age, we find neither the opportunity or the energy to reach out and share their worries with others. So midlife tends to be more isolated, is I think what this is saying, because we're so busy. We're focused on children, aging parents, work, uh, issues with the home. So we sometimes lack the opportunity or the energy to reach out and share with others. Let's see. It says, oh, yes, I like these questions. Around the middle part of our lives, it's common to ask questions like, am I doing well compared to others? Am I in a rut?
I don't know the word.
That means, am I doing the same thing over and over
Oh,
again?
okay.
Am I a good partner and parent?
Mm.
Do I have good relationships with my children?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, how many years do I have left? That's a good question.
I think it's many years.
I think a lot of people think that.
Uh-huh.
Does the life I'm leading have meaning beyond myself? What people and purposes do I really care about? And how can I invest in them?
Mm.
What else do I want to do?
Yeah, that
I,
is the question. A lot of people for this age thinking, right?
well, those are, uh, excuse me, folks. Who is it? Who? Who? Oh, oh, okay. Okay. So, let's see. Where was I?
Finally, realizing a lot of life behind us, we might look aloud at our life, see the limit of our abilities, and lightly.
And think, is that all there is? Hmm. I think when we hit a certain age, we all ask that question: is this all there is to life? And they say the simple answer is no. There is more. Midlife is an inflection point, not only between young and old, but also between the self focused, inward looking way of living that many of us developed in young adulthood and a more generous, outward looking way of life or living. And I think I can agree with that because when we were younger, we were so tied up with family, with work, our careers, that we were looking inward. But the older we got, we started looking outward. We started thinking about others and what they're thinking and what they're doing. So it says, this is the most important and enlivening task of midlife, to expand one's focus to the world beyond the self.
Mm-hmm.
And even John F. Kennedy, he, who,
Did it
as
really
president,
famous? Yeah. Did it
was a
very famous word in the world?
no.
Question.
This
What?
this this is his
Oh, oh,
quote:
oh, oh, this one. Oh, yeah.
"Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country."
Yes.
Uh, you know, when a president who is accomplished a lot of things in life at a young age can ask that question. That's an important question to ask. What can you do for your country? What can you do for others?
It mean don't think about only yourself, you know. Think about someone else too, you know. Think about someone, you know, who do something for you also. It's not like he tried to let people self-center or whatever, you know, think about something different, right?
Yes. Let's see. Uh, their study participants, male and female, often reference their middle years and regretted having spent so much time worrying and so little time acting in a way that made them feel alive. They said, "Oh, I wish I hadn't wasted so much time. I wish I hadn't procrastinated so much." Oh, I relate to that. "I wish I hadn't worried so much. I wish I'd spent more time with my family." So these are things that participants sort of relate, look back on and said, "Oh, I wish I hadn't. I wish I hadn't." Their regrets, you know.
Yeah, that's why I try to do my best. And then when get older and older, I don't say this word or this sentence a lot. I
Hmm.
wish I can do that. I wish I can do this. This is mean like a very a lot of things we get, right?
Yes. Now it gets back to Wes, and Wes opens up about his middle years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when he was 36, he started dating a woman, Amy,
Uh-huh.
who had a young 3-year old son.
Mm-hmm.
Wes started helping raise that child.
Mm-hmm.
And but at 40, 4 years later, Wes had still not married. Uh, Wes looked at different careers, and he had applied for the Boston Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
And after several years of waiting, was finally accepted. He was great for that position. His experience, his temperament, had all prepared him for uh, that job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Wes was 44 years old, he asked Amy to marry him. That's 8 years into their relationship. So Wes took his time uh, and became comfortable in the relationship before he could even ask his this Amy to marry him. And he said he had nothing but positive things to say about Amy. So he had finally found a person he could be in a stable relationship with that had the personality that blended with him. And I think that's pretty important, is to be in a relationship with someone who whose personality blends with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Wes had avoided a long term partner, probably, they say, no small part because of his early childhood experience of his parents' marriage. This, they say, is not unusual, that people whose parents has had a bad marriage tends to be very, um, well, weary of developing a relationship or a marriage. Uh, Now we're getting into late life on page 78, 66 plus, minding what and who matters.
This is had done 20 years ago. This.
Well, in a study done in 2003, two groups of participants, one older and one younger, were shown two advertisements. But the key to this are the questions. They had a showed a or it was a camera ad, and they showed a picture of a bird. But the slogans were different. For one, it said, "Capture those special moments." The other ad said, "Capture the unexplored world." Well, the older group come and said they would pick "Capture those special moments." The younger group chose the other caption, "Capture the unexplored world." And the researchers determined that it was because of how much time a person perceives to have left in their life. If they're older and they think they have less time left, they want to capture the special moments in life.
Yes.
The younger people, on the other hand,
They not care much about that.
they're not worried about the special moments. They
Yeah.
want to explore the world.
Yes. Then different.
But when they said to the older people, if you have another 20 years, if you know you're going to live another 20 years, what caption would you pick? And even the older people who said, oh, if I have 20 years left, I would go capture the unexplored world. It's basically a perception about how much time they have left.
Yes. That's why I heard a lot, and they let people like I want to be happier and peaceful, and they just said, if you think you will die tomorrow or you will die in next weeks, what you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what you gonna do now? Okay.
Well, it says right here, in late life, time is suddenly very precious. Time is like gold.
Yes.
And when we think about, oh, we only have so much time left, we start asking questions like, oh, how much time do I have left? How long will I stay healthy? Am I losing it mentally? Who do I want to spend this limited time with?
Yeah.
Have I had a good enough life? What was meaningful? What do I have to regret?
Yeah, I think if people think about this, whatever in their life, I think they will be happier.
Well, I think, I'm almost 69. In about another 8 days, I'll be 69. It says, I asked this, how much time do I have left?
You
Well,
don't know.
I don't know.
How long will I stay healthy?
Again, I don't know.
But we try to be healthier.
Am I losing it mentally? Again, I don't know. Now, who do I want to spend this limited time with? I know that answer.
I know.
I will spend it with my beautiful wife.
Thank you.
And have I had a good enough life? Well, you know, I think in everyone's life there are regrets. But I think we can also learn from um, uh, our past mistakes and try to be better people.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was meaningful? What do I regret? What do I regret? Well, I have regrets,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I feel we all have regrets,
Yes, everyone.
and we can't dwell on those regrets, but we continue to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, from the outside, late life is often viewed as a period of physical and mental decline. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of older people look at life that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to the young, old age may look like a distant abstraction. Uh, you know, it's so far away for the young
Yeah. Yes.
that they can't even imagine growing old.
Yeah. Back to when I was young, I never think about when I get older or old how I feel. Now I am old,
Older,
older.
older.
Yeah,
You're
I,
not old.
I still, can be happy and get some happiness, happier all the time. People adapt or adjust themselves all the time. Mm.
Now, in midlife, though, we start thinking
Mm-hmm.
about getting older.
Yeah,
So when we're young, we don't think about it.
yeah, we don't.
Then in midlife, we start thinking about it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And so uh, these are they start thinking, oh, okay, older people, they've lived life and they have wisdom because of their experience.
It's very important. The wisdom from your experience is worth and a lot of value. You study in the classroom or somebody, your parents try to teach you and tell you something, you're not really, believe sometimes. But the experience you have, that is truth. And it will
Well,
help your wisdom a lot,
yeah,
build up wisdom a lot. I know that.
yeah. Well, older old age is not simple. We may be more concerned about time as death approaches, but we are also older people are more capable about appreciating what time we have left.
Mm, mm.
So we have to make the best of that time because we don't know when we're going to pass.
Yes, we try to uh, do the best we can to get happiness, enjoy life.
Well, there's an image of older people being grumpy and cantankerous. Uh,
You know,
well,
you know why the older people so look like a Gumby? People just say Gumby older. Why?
older,
What?
grumpy old people.
Yeah, Gumby old people. Why the old people like to say like that? Like to get called like that.
I think actually it's because we realize our time is growing short.
Mm-hmm. Why have to Gumby?
Well, we don't have time enough to play games.
Mm-hmm. And then what?
And younger people, they they're we feel are too carefree and they should be more serious because they don't realize how fast a person actually ages.
The way you grumpy is mean grumpy to want pe- want people allow you to be a better
Well,
person, a
for
better.
some
Uh-huh.
older people, I think they get set in their own ways of acting out, of living.
Uh-huh.
And when those are interfered with,
Uh-huh.
it it upsets them because it's outside the box. You know, older people sometimes get involved
In the
or
box a lot.
fall within a certain parameter, and
Uh-huh.
anything outside that is a unknown, a uncertainty. So that makes older people nervous,
Uh-huh.
and nervous people can act pretty grumpy.
Oh, now I know. I never asked you before either. What
Come
happened?
on, you know I resemble this now.
But I never serious about that, because when you just complain something a little bit and you will, you know, that emotional will disappear very quick. So I did not attention much.
Well, you know, I think back on my grandparents,
Uh-huh.
and I realized something.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm trying to put it into my own life.
Uh-huh.
There are still, and it says here, right here,
Uh-huh.
there are still things to learn,
Uh-huh.
still some development ahead,
Uh-huh.
and our relationships are the key to maximizing the joys of late life.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents uh, were well aware of the world. They
Uh-huh.
studied National Geographic
Uh-huh.
specials in the magazines, and they kept up on things,
Mm-hmm.
and they learned things even later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think one of the things they say, one of the harder things for some people to learn is how to give help, and even harder for others as they grow older,
Mm-hmm.
how to receive help.
Mm.
And I understand that because there's times where I want to help somebody I think needs help,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how to give them the help that I think they need. Or if somebody needs help, or if I need help,
Mm-hmm.
I feel uncomfortable asking for help.
Oh, okay. Me too.
When I tweaked my knee
Mm-hmm.
uh, 10 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I felt embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
and sort of grumpy because I felt sort of like I couldn't take care of myself.
Ah.
And I had to depend on somebody else to help take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've always prided myself in being self sufficient,
Mm.
not needing any help.
Not need any help. You try to be independent.
Yes, and that is a issue as the older I get. Is I
Okay.
still want to be independent, but I know there's times I'm going to need help.
Mm. I think when you need help, you need help. You need to let people help. Otherwise, you cannot take care of yourself, and you don't want to ask for help. That is make you more grumpy, like a frustrated and straight because you cannot do anything by yourself and you did not get help. You did
Well,
not ask
yeah,
for help. So that's why we learn how you action, and we know you in the situation to get help. So that's why we took you to the hospital, and at least you can get some medication or
Well,
get
yeah.
something, make your yourself feeling better.
Helplessness is a terrible feeling,
I know.
and I think that most people do not like to feel that way.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to accept the way you are now. And if you need help, you just, don't hesitate to ask, especially in the family. But I know people feel like that. So the good way we should do is be careful, especially when we get old like this, go older like this.
Well,
We
that's
need to be
true.
be careful. What be careful? Our health should to be healthier. Why? How? How to be
Well,
healthier?
I think the older we get, the more we will depend on each other.
Mm,
And we'll also probably learn to accept help from others when we need it.
yes. If you need help, don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Uh, so thank you so much, Guy. Thank you for three people still with us
Yeah.
right now. So we just continue, study this kind of book. Is very good books and help us a lot. And hopefully you enjoy with us. And if I can, I will, like uh, summarize, make it a short video if I can in the next in the next time, or if
Or
I
in the future, you'll make
in
a shorter video.
yeah, and people can continue listen what the books.
Yeah, she's gaining knowledge in editing videos.
So thank you so
So
much.
thank you from Mississippi. Y'all have a good day and or a good night if you're overseas.
Thank you. See you again. Bye bye.